Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
We are following some breaking news. You see it right here, a pursuit underway of this newer model silver Audi that has been going extremely fast on the highway. Of course, our assignment manager, Mark Liu, is following this. And Mark, what is the want for? Why are they chasing?
This is a stolen vehicle. Amy, this is CHP out of the East LA area is chasing this silver Audi. They believe there are two men inside of this car. Now, they picked it up on the westbound 60 passing Grand. And if I'm looking at the radar here, we are actually now southbound on, let's see, which freeway is this? I'm trying to figure out here with SkyCal. I believe this is actually, it's south from the 60, and I'm going to get that freeway for you in just. Oh no, it is set now south on this on the 60 freeway right now. The initial want on this, they said, was 10851 on the CHP radio. That's a stolen vehicle. So what we're looking at here is a silver stolen Audi that right now there are no lights and sirens behind this fleeing vehicle. The only law enforcement overhead is the CHP airship. So what we have here, this driver driving extremely fast and nobody behind him with their lights and sirens on. Now, they may have had their lights and sirens on a little bit earlier before SkyCal got overhead, because clearly, Amy, this driver believes they are being chased. They are driving extremely recklessly right now and driving through lanes of traffic on the shoulder, making very aggressive lane changes. But there are no law enforcement vehicles of any kind behind it. This is only being followed by SkyCal right now and the CHP helicopter. So it's unclear why this driver feels the need to drive so recklessly at this point, but sometimes they can spot the helicopter overhead and know that they are being followed. But right now, as you can see here, very dangerous, still continuing southbound on the shoulder, and we do know that there are two men inside, described as adult men. A CHP unit was able to spot them in there. We also believe there was information that at least one of them may have been armed as well. So armed suspects in this stolen vehicle this afternoon as they continue southbound on the freeway through the Santa Fe Springs area.
Well, and Mark, in so many other places, 1022, the morning rush is over, but here anywhere in the LA area, the morning commute lasts a lot longer. And at 1022, you can see that there is still a lot of traffic on this freeway, and this driver continues to use the shoulder to get around this backup of so much traffic. And clearly they know they are in a stolen vehicle. Even if they don't see the cruisers behind them, they are still trying to get away because they know that this is not their vehicle. And oftentimes law enforcement backs way off on these pursuits, trying to get the driver to slow down. But unfortunately, in this case, that's not working. This driver is still going extremely fast. This is extremely dangerous, but we often talk about the fact that law enforcement prefers a pursuit on a highway because you have less variables than you do on those surface streets, like pedestrians and stop signs and stoplights and people unaware. In a situation like this, oftentimes that driver is going at the same speed as the other drivers on the road, but this time not the case. There's a lot of traffic out there, Mark. This driver has just gotten off the freeway, but do you know exactly where they are?
Yeah, earlier I said he was on the 60. I apologize, he was on the 605, and this is right where we cross the 5. This might be Florence Avenue, I believe, and I can hear the CHP helicopter speaking to dispatchers. They have transitioned out of the East LA area into the Santa Fe Springs office area of the CHP. They are asking for CHP officers from that district to please try and get into position to reactivate a lights and sirens pursuit on this driver. They are concerned about how fast and reckless this driver is fleeing right now, and they do want to take this person into custody. It sounds like they are only in what's called surveillance mode right now, simply because there weren't any CHP officers that were close by and in position. Now, as we continue to watch SkyCal following here on the surface streets, this driver, as you can see, making these very aggressive lane changes, speeding up well faster than the traffic that is around him. And this is very dangerous, as you had mentioned. It's just about 10:30 on a Tuesday morning. There are people that are probably either just dropping off from school or still going to work. And on these, this is a residential area here now. We're heading westbound. I believe this is Florence. As we continue west, I see both SkyCal and law enforcement overhead tracking this car. I can hear the air commander continuing to route CHP units in. Now, on the sidewalk into a gas station, just making a cut here as they turn, I believe, northbound or perhaps now southbound, or no, just continuing around the traffic, continuing west along this major thoroughfare. Yeah, I do believe this is Florence Avenue. Very dangerous driving, Amy, right now.
Certainly wanted to continue in the same direction, Mark, instead of just making that turn there. So it may be that this person is heading to a particular location, but certainly traffic slowing down here. They are making an aggressive left-hand turn here. And it makes you wonder, where are they going? And this car making very, very aggressive turns and passing on the right side of the other traffic, and this, going on the wrong side of the road. So dangerous. People unaware that this is happening. No lights and sirens to give other drivers a heads up that this car is coming barreling down the road, going through a stop sign, making that aggressive turn, and they have no idea that this car is coming their way, because so often it's the lights and sirens that warn other people to slow down, to pull over. But in this case, there is no warning, no heads up that this driver is barreling through this neighborhood, running another stop sign, making another left turn here. And, Mark, we know this is an Audi. It's a newer model Audi, I believe a Q4. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But this is a fast vehicle. So certainly using the strength, the muscle of this vehicle to get through these intersections very quickly. Another stop sign run there. Mark, do you know where this car was actually taken from?
Yeah, well, we don't know where the stolen report came from, but they picked it up on the westbound 60 passing Grand. That's much further to the north. And now we're parking in a residential structure here. It looks like a high rise. Can't see with SkyCal if anybody is getting out. And I'll tell you, Amy, last week we covered a pursuit with that box truck where there was some jurisdictional issues about whether or not law enforcement wanted to get involved. Looks like we're having that again because this vehicle was off the freeway for so long. CHP tossed it over to the sheriffs, and now sheriffs are unclear whether or not they're able to get anyone in position. Now, as SkyCal turns around and makes that orbit, it's tough to tell if anybody has been able to get out of this parking structure. I do hear right now as we speak on the radio, the air unit, the law enforcement helicopter overhead is calling out that this vehicle is parked in that parking space, and they do have eyes on it. And right there, that may be a sheriff's vehicle. It's tough to tell, or perhaps Downey PD, I'm not sure. But they vectored right into this location. I don't see anyone getting out of that car or running. The driver may just be in there waiting it out to see if anyone is going to approach them. That ground unit now looks like they're just driving right by.
You can see the taillights on, Mark, so it looks like somebody's still in the car.
I think you're right. I don't think anybody got out of that vehicle, and I hear over and over the air unit talking to the unit on the ground saying it is sitting right there in the stall.
Somebody's walking.
You passed right by it.
I don't know if you can see that. They were just showing, SkyCal was just showing someone walking. I could see white shoes walking by there. They may be trying to get out and hide and walk casually away from this area. Maybe one got out, one didn't. Maybe they're assessing the area. But, we talked about how they seem to be knowing where they wanted to go, and this may have been exactly what they were trying to do, to get to a parking garage where they could try to blend in with others. And we see a lot of cruisers there now on the scene, Mark, and a lot of those officers have actually gotten out of their car. You can see them walking there on that stretch of roadway. There's someone walking right there, and wondering if, they didn't have a good description, just two men, so we don't know what they look like.
They did have it was just two adult men, and I know that Downey PD now is setting up a perimeter. You can see there, they have one person being taken into custody here. Unclear. Downey PD must at least believe this person was involved in some way. Don't have clothing descriptions on either of the men that were in that vehicle. Perhaps law enforcement did have it, but they didn't say it on the radio. They communicated it to officers in a different way. And there was that other gentleman that was walking through the parking lot. SkyCal did briefly see that man. I don't see him being taken into custody down here, but it looks like no one has yet approached the car to open it up, unless they are doing that right now and we can't see it with SkyCal because of the perspective that we've got right here. But I do hear with the CHP radio frequencies, they have gone quiet. That usually means that the officers on the ground are conducting some kind of an operation. The air unit does not have any further details to provide them. I'm also not actually listening to Downey PD on their channel because I haven't had a chance to switch over because I wanted to keep my ears on the air unit right now because they're the commander calling out the operations, but it's very possible that Downey PD may be discussing this down there as well. As we can see, at least one person being taken into custody. Let me switch over and see if I can listen to what Downey is doing and get a better idea.
Yeah, Mark,
I'll get right back with you.
Well, certainly we were able to see the sheriff's helicopter. They've opened up the trunk. They are, in fact, officers are, in fact, searching that Audi that has been reported stolen, that was tracked right into this parking garage. They were looking for the two men that were inside that car. We do see one person is being detained, but we do not know what happened to the other person. At one point, Mark was hearing that at least one person was armed. That may have been how they stole this car, but we don't know if they, in fact, did have a weapon. We don't know if a weapon has been found on this person, or if someone got away and that person, or they may have, in fact, left the weapon inside that vehicle. You just can't say at this point until Mark is able to talk to some of the law enforcement. But they were able, they thought at least, to hide in this area. And while we weren't able to see the cruisers close behind this car, we do now know that they were pretty close behind them and have been able to at least track one of those suspects outside of this vehicle. We have not heard yet about a second suspect at this point, but one is in custody, it appears, and we're showing you now on the right side of your screen when that stolen silver Audi pulled into that parking garage there. And then you see that one suspect that has been caught by law enforcement, but there is, in fact, a second person. They did report two men in that stolen Audi that they were after, and we are still waiting for word on whether or not that other suspect was caught. All right, we are going to, of course, keep a close eye on this. Mark will give us an update when he gets new information.